I think today is going to be filled with trial and error, and specifically on the trial part, because today I actually want to find a dungeon and I want to loot it for everything it has to offer. Now, we should be able to find this structure sort of lingered about our world, and it's actually pretty easy to notice these structures. We're going to dive into that, of course, in a second, but there's a few things I want to get done first to make our journey actually possible. So first things first, get a sleeping bag so that way our spawn point stays here and we're not constantly replacing our bed. That way, if I do die in the dungeon, I'll make sure I respawn here and I'll have access to my waypoint. Second thing on the to-do list is make sure that we have a secondary backup waystone. So I do have a waystone tucked away in here, and these are actually strung all about. We'll probably find several more today. But my main goal is to hopefully gain access to some slimes. I would really love to get access to slime balls and also ender pearls, which are very, very important for modded Minecraft. Now, some other useful things that I should get my hands on is going to be wood today for sure. But I'm going to need some sticks here, and I want to make myself an Ars Novice spellbook. So this is going to be pretty important as well, giving us the ability to sort of insta-break blocks. And allowing us to bypass a lot of interesting mechanics. So we should be able to get this set up, and this should make this journey a whole lot easier. So to do this, I just need to make a book, and we need to combine all of our basic tools, just these, to make this book. Beautiful. With them all combined up, I now have a novice spellbook, which is, yeah, like an emergency pickaxe, or that's one good way of thinking about it. Now, I should have some dye laying around. Did I not collect any flowers? Oh, we do have beetroot. So if you have these dyes or even source berries, you can actually dye your book different colors. So if I wanted to dye it red, now my spellbook's red. Or I can dye it black, which I think would look really good as well. Very nice. Now at this point, we've learned a few spells, but we haven't really dove too much into how to set this up. Now the spells that we've learned have come from those free spell glyphs that have been laying about from the Ars add-on. And we ended up getting Amplify, which is kind of cool because this basically gives us access to a diamond pickaxe now. So we have a project, we have self, and we have touch. And the reason this is so good is because projectile with Amplify should give us the ability to break mob spawners. And I think we can break it even without Amplify, but we can break blocks at a range with this projectile. Now I definitely want to get myself a scribes table up, and thankfully we had found this takeoff book, which allows me to fly around. And this right here is exactly where I need to be. So I'm going to grab a bit of the wood here, and this archwood log will allow us to make several of the things that are going to be needed to kind of progress just a little bit through Ars Nouveau. Now, crafting the scribes table unlocks quite a few things for us. So I think I place it down like this. There we go, beautiful. And when we open this up by clicking our book on here, we can now see all of the spells we have access to underneath tier 1, because currently we only have a tier 1 spell book. So one of the main ones I would really love to get is definitely going to be Leap or Dash, which is really nice to have. But I'm trying to think of some other ones. Like I definitely also want Conjure Mage Light. So now that we have our scribes table made, this thing is pretty cool. We can click our book on here, and then we can actually select some spells. For example, if we go under tier 1, which is what our book currently is, we can select Conjure Mage Light. And you'll notice it says not enough XP for this glyph. That's because a lot of glyphs that you need to craft require actual experience. But our quest gave us these greater experiences, which are pretty useful for this actual task here, because we can now select our Mage Light, which, by the way, is just like having a portable torch. And you can see the two items hovering there. We are going to need to craft those two things. And the cool part is it'll actually pull these items out of a chest if they happen to be inside of a chest. For example, that one torch, by the way, we should notice that it's going to throw that out, and we'll see that it actually gets consumed, which is pretty darn cool. And we also need to surround a torch, right, to make a lantern. And we can also just click these on here, or have a mod click these on here. So yes, this is 100% automatable with something like Refined Storage or Applied Energistics, but Refined Storage actually isn't in this pack as of right now. I think it is being updated though, but yeah, as of this update, we're so early in the update cycle with modded Minecraft that refined storage isn't even available. I will say though that we really won't need it. The early storage that I kind of want to get started with is going to be integrated dynamics in this pack, and then we'll be transitioning into applied energistics. And AE is very, very cool now. You definitely don't want to miss those episodes. It had a complete overhaul on its textures, which is absolutely beautiful. Now let's get back into this. So one of my first spells is going to be light. And this is going to be set to our spell kit 1, and it's going to be a projectile and a conjure mage light. Now we can amplify this to make it brighter, but as of right now, just to keep our mana cost down, which you can see how much it's going to consume, that's going to be great. So what I should be able to do now is I should be able to just right click, and voila, we have a mage light. But if you want to get even fancier with this, underneath the selected one here, spell, we can go under the color picker. And this is where we can choose things like rainbow, or we can choose any color right here, or we can turn all of these completely down like this, and you hit save. And what this is going to do is this is going to make it almost transparent-ish. So you can't even really see it. So you get this kind of like completely clear light. But yeah, I like to have a little bit of color in mind. So how about we just select rainbow? That's going to be pretty good. And now it's just going to rotate through the colors, which I think is kind of nice. Now for my next magic trick, I'm going to be making a boop spell, which we will be able to projectile break blocks. And yes, we can apply amplify on it if need be. And amplify will allow us to break obsidian, and it insta breaks obsidian, by the way. So with our boop spell, and we can also hit V to pull up a menu to select these different spells, we can go ahead and use it. And just like that, you can see that it broke the block. Very, very cool. Now, another spell I recommend picking up since we are building kind of these early spells that are going to help us in these dungeons is going to be the pickup spell. That way we can actually combine this. If we drop these two things in here, we can combine this spell with our break spell, allowing our break spell to auto send the things that it breaks right into our inventory. So this will be added to the break spell. And so we'll just modify this by adding it after the fact. And now when I break this block, the block that was broken gets put into my inventory. Very, very useful. Now, something I like to note about the spellbook, which is probably one of the coolest parts, is you can actually assign a hotkey to all of these values over here. So any spell that you set up, you can assign a hotkey to it. And you can, for example, be on your boop, and you can go ahead without even changing it from boop. You can just hit the hotkey and it will just do the thing that you have it assigned to. For example, if I have it set to Mage Light, it would go ahead and place a Mage Light, even though I don't have it selected. And that's some quality of life that I really enjoy. Now, before I leave, I want to make sure I'm in the best gear possible, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade our iron helmet into a pneumatic craft one. Since we got all of this free pneumatic craft stuff, might as well make this. This gear is a little bit better than your standard iron. It doesn't look as good. It definitely looks tough. A little compressed, a little dense, but it is going to be a much better set of gear. So I'm going to toss this away, and I think the only other thing we need to make is going to be a shield. Now, before we head off, there's a couple of things I do want to try out. A couple of these relics. Now, the Infinity Ham, it does seem like the more I eat it, the more XP it's gaining, and I think that's also the case for these. Like, we're not sending XP, I think, into them. We have to use them, and then they gain levels. So for example, me running around, it was at 39%. And this is kind of such a weird effect because it feels like I'm on ice. So I kind of just glide when I let off the keys, like I'm not touching it right now. And what I want to see is this like leveling up? Yes, you can see it's like at 47% now. So the more you wear this, it seems like, and the more you actively use it, the higher the levels go. So that's pretty cool. And I'm assuming the same thing is for the Infinity Ham, which should give us regeneration effects, which would be very nice, but we have to continuously use this. So the more I use it, the better it's going to get. So now for the fun part, to launch off and go exploring and look for a dungeon. Now the dungeons we're after are from the mod called Dungeon Crawl. And what this is going to offer is a lot of early game items like ender pearls, things like that, things that are very helpful early game, but probably aren't so helpful later on. So it's best to do this as soon as possible. And it's also going to offer a bit more challenge early on. But speaking of challenge, we should be well on our way to completing this with no problem at all. especially since we have the ability to light the area up. And we also have the ability to break the mob spawners, which is probably one of the hardest parts. And this right here is an example of one of the structures that you're going to want to look for when it comes to this dungeon crawl mod. So this right here is like I said, one example. There are several of them, but if you see a tower sticking out that has a staircase in it, oh goodness, by the way, the the roller skates are kind of rough whenever you're not just actively running around. But you want to find a staircase. Looks just like this. And this right here is going to be what we need. And by the way, lighting the area up is going to be so important with this. So I'm going to be placing down lights as we continue down. But that's where things get a little bit scary because there are going to be mobs spawning and we are going to be potentially taking damage. That's where having a sword and a shield is going to be a necessity, and also the ability to light and break these blocks. Now getting to the bottom, it's going to look like this, and there might be some structure generation kind of deformities, like you can see into the side of this cave right here, and that's pretty common. That's pretty common with these structures. But yes, there's a creeper already that we're dealing with, and falling in a hole. There's multiple levels to this. The first few levels are pretty easy. You're not going to be encountering too many crazy things, and most things are pretty avoidable. The creepers being one that's not super avoidable, but yeah, notice there's a chest in that room. Super nice. Now, something that I probably want to do is set up a waystone on each level before I go down, so that way if I do die, I can get back to this particular level. But the best thing I can do is just add lights, and you can see all the way down in the corner there's a spawner. If I can get a light down there, oh, like that, oh, then we are going to be good to go. So yeah, there's a lot of good things we can get from here. A lot of gear you can find early game, but the lower you go down in the levels, the better the gear gets, the better the resources get that you find in here, and also the better the enchants. I think even down at the lower levels you can find diamond, and there's also a bunch of redstone and obsidian down there. This place is 100% a labyrinth, and you see right here, we have a spawner for a spider, but if we boop this, then it should go away. And I think shift right click, there we go, and it broke the spawner. Ah, and it doesn't use durability or anything like that. So I'm going to be going back and forth. I think I'm going to have the boop enabled and use a hotkey for the torches. So now by placing these lights, we are essentially cheesing this quite a bit. Yeah, I will say this definitely feels cheesy. I don't even have to, I think, break the spawners. I can just loot and go. Oh, we get such good stuff. Like things that you would definitely kind of struggle with finding, you're going to find here. Like ink sacs early game, different types of mushrooms. There's all of these interesting potions, which do different things. You'll find all kinds of different crops down here. So if you're already missing those, you're going to find them. Kitty slippers, artifacts you're going to find down here, and also Ars Nouveau stuff. Oh, yes, this is the place to be. Now, honestly, if we get super lucky, since artifacts is in here, I would love to get some running shoes. That would make my day if I got running shoes down here. But like I said, these first few levels, oh man, then we got an ender pearl. These first few levels are going to be fairly simple to get through. And this is where I was saying, right? The loot that you're going to get from this and the loot that I'm getting currently feels really good at our current stage. And also there's redstone here. There's even glowstone, by the way, that you can find tucked inside of this building. Speaking of glowstone, yeah, right here is some glowstone. So definitely worth nabbing that if you can. Oh man, all kinds of good stuff. Fermented spider eyes. All of this is going to be super helpful. Now also keep an eye out for something like this. If you see like a couple of bookshelves that are in the wall, definitely break into it because there is a secret chamber back here. And inside of this will contain a bunch of emeralds, books, and other useful things, including an early game enchanting table. Oh, this is so worth it. By the way, this is where that amplify is going to come into play. So we can hit that amplify on here, and that should allow us to actually break this block. Oh, it's so nice. We don't even have a diamond pickaxe. Lots and lots of good loot. Phantom membranes. So many good things. Now, I'm looking for these stairs. These are going to lead down into the next level. But I do like to clear out each level just to make sure that I've gotten all of my ender pearls, anything that I can get from these early stages. Now I do want to go ahead and head down into the lower levels. Oh boy. Hey, look, I guess we get to eat more of our food, right? It's kind of cool how like it just slowly saturates you. I kind of like that. Now, let me go ahead and light this area up. We're moving down to the next level. And like I said, rinse and repeat, place your stone down here and just make sure you have a way to get back in case you die. That way you don't lose everything, because it would be very hard to get back here without all of your stuff. Now, something to note, so far, just off the first level, this was basically all of the major good loot that I ended up finding. 2 ender pearls, which I cannot complain about. Also rabbit's hide and all kinds of other little goodies like name tags and things like that. On the second level, it looks like I'm getting into some interesting stuff. This is a fireball spell, and it says a classic, of course, as a major fireball. Oh my goodness, I love it. All right, and yeah, a little bit more of the modded stuff starting to show up, it looks like. I guess it's kind of random. I guess it depends on the type of chest that it is, like if that's a dungeon loot chest. I don't know, I guess they can be different types. Now, of course, the reason I brought a shield was to protect myself against the skellies. Oh man, there's only one way to do it, and it's this way. It does look like this still ended up spawning, but we probably accidentally spawned this while we were above. So there's still going to be mobs. Like, we're not 100% protected here, but once they're down, they shouldn't respawn again. Now, I did find the stairs, but I have not tested out that fireball spell. So let's grab out that fireball and let's shoot it at this wall. Oh, goodness. That is 100% a TNT spell, and I love it. So now I'm moving into the third layer. And things are going to get a little bit more challenging in these catacomb layers. Now, the reason it's going to get a bit more challenging is because it's going to be a lot harder to stop these spawners from spawning. I know I just successfully done it there, but there's going to be a lot of hidden spawners that we won't exactly be able to see right away. But the loot should be a little bit better. Look at that, we just got diamond horse armor. Oh goodness, I have no idea what that was. It just hit me. But I think we're fine. Oh, that was a necromancer that actually hit me, which I totally forgot that that mod is in this pack. Oh, Iron Spells and Spellbooks has some pretty nasty mobs that can come after you. I did find the stairwell, but I still have a lot of looting to do. Now, on the third level, slime balls. This is a game changer. Like I said, so useful early game finding some slime, because that can be kind of a challenging task early game. But you can definitely find them in these dungeons. Oh, it's so useful. By the way, looking out on this area, oh, there's diamonds down there. I want to mine them so bad. Oh, wait, I can mine them, because on my spellbook, if you remember, we have pickup. So if I aim this, I should be able to cast this onto the diamonds, and we just collected the diamond. Oh, that's so powerful. Now, on the fourth level is where I'm starting to find diamond tools. So I just found a diamond shovel. Also now, I mean, I was getting diamond horse armor on the third level, but this is now the fourth level, and we have a bit more vines. Now, this room right here is very challenging. I got it lit up for the most part, but there are chests that are hidden back here behind these quartz blocks. Yeah, there's a spawner right there and here. So yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out which one has the chest. Oh, the spawners themselves, right? They have the chest hidden behind them. Yeah. Now in this chest, a midnight robe. And what is this one about? +1 experience point for every 2 points of damage when attacking. Okay, while being invisible from the disappearing ability. So we have Vanishing and Betrayal. Vanishing gives the wearer complete invisibility and increases the speed of their movement at a significantly low light level, or sorry, sufficiently low light level. So if the light level is at 2, we are invisible. That's kind of cool. But does it go back? Okay, what is this one? This is the Betrayal. So attack from the Vanish ability deals increased damage. So if we're vanished, we deal increased damage. Kind of nifty, honestly. So definitely one worth having. Now this area right here should have a spawner, beautiful, with a chest in it as well, and more ender pearls. Oh, this is such a good thing to loot early game. So I'm now making my way down, and this is where things get a little bit sketchy. This right here is the final level. So as soon as it turns into the Nether theme, we're now at the final level, the lowest level. And thankfully we were given a few building blocks, so 2 complete areas that are broken like this. But like you'll see, redstone here, there's coal blocks, there's all kinds of stuff sprawled about. But we are going to encounter all kinds of mob spawners that are going to be in the ceiling. There's going to be blaze spawners, enderman spawners, so lots of crazy stuff. And I think also wither skeleton spawners. So all of these things I got to kind of keep my eye on because, well, we are protected, but I'm not protected against crazy elements, for example, like the withering. Like this right here, I don't even know if they will still spawn. They might. But look at that, diamond helmets? Bottles of enchanting, definitely worth coming down here. And now being at these lower levels, there should be all kinds of goodies in here. Of course, we're gonna get some chests that are very similar to the ones that we were getting, but we should find higher level chests that have diamond gear in them, which is definitely gonna be nice. Yeah, like this, definitely upgrade because this is an in-between. This is like kind of better than iron. And then this right here is definitely better than iron. So we're like immediately jumping into some diamond gear. And just like that, a diamond pickaxe with soulbound and mending on it. Ah, just beautiful. Oh man, these mobs are actually kind of nasty because I think they have a poisoning enchant on them. Because I just received a helmet that had poisoning on it. Oh, and it is definitely affecting me. I really gotta get this guy gone. Come on. A few more hits. Whew. That's a nasty effect. Now, I think I've almost got this whole area kind of explored, and it has been pretty tame so far. I've just been making sure to light areas up and or break the spawners. I do think, though, there are blaze spawners that I've probably accidentally destroyed and should have used them for actually getting early game blaze, but that's okay. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and grab some obsidian. Oh man, it's so nice to be able to just grab this. But we do have diamond picks at this point, but still, insta-breaking obsidian is beautiful. So actually, maybe I'm not out of luck just yet because there's still a room up here and I did not clear out this side. So maybe there's still one more room that might actually contain a blaze spawner. And I'll just make sure this time that I don't take it out. Oh boy, like I think this one's a skeleton spawner. Yeah, this one should be fine. I don't think that's gonna spawn. Maybe there's one more left. Ooh, this right here. So this is a blaze spawner. I kind of want to let the blaze spawn. I've just got to check and make sure, yep, that this is prevented from spawning. But I do want this one to spawn. I'm almost positive. Oh no, it's a zombie spawner. Oh, I really thought these were blazes. Now this one is a wither skeleton spawner, which is kind of nice. And we do have apotheosis in here. So if we had silk touch on any of these things, we would actually be able to pick that spawner up. But unfortunately, we do not have silk touch. Now, I think with this, our dungeon crawling is technically done. And so now I can make my way back to the surface, which I'm probably just going to dig up to get there. But I now should be able to take my my waystone and we're ready to go. So yeah, we do have a way, by the way. If we hold down shift and also the grave key, we can switch this to a upwards mode like this, escape tunnel, and we can now easily, with our diamond pick, mine our way an escape route. So after a very, very nice dungeon crawl, the smell of fresh air, very, very nice. And we can now work our way back home. Well, actually, you know what? Instead of heading directly back home, let's go ahead and set a waystone. And this is the good thing about having two waystones is we can always travel back home. Now, it does look like we have XP cost on travel, but 1 XP is definitely worth it to be able to come back home, dump our loot, and then break this and continue our journey on. Because I think I want to find myself a village. And once we have ourselves a village maintained, we should also be able to get a waystone from there, potentially. We can actually have a way to travel back and forth to a village, which is going to be very nice. So now that I'm back, upgrading my backpacks to gold is definitely going to be something that I want to do. By the way, to refill a prior craft, you hit tab. Oh, it's such a nice little feature. You can also hit K to compress blocks, Shift K to compress every block of that type inside of your inventory. For example, I hit K while hovering over this gold. It now compressed it all into those blocks. There's also a keybind for uncompressing if you wanted to do that as well. And these gold backpacks are much bigger, by the way, giving us basically an entirely new chest. Now, today has turned out to be kind of a magic sort of day, and it's going to continue a little bit further too, not only with our relics, but actually getting into the iron spells and spellbook mod, because I have a feeling this is going to be very powerful as well, especially since we actually found a recall scroll, which in my opinion is one of the most useful outside of the Ender teleport spell that you can actually find from this mod. But the recall spell specifically kind of works like the magic mirror from Terraria. You can use it, not unlimitedly, it does have a 5-minute cooldown, but you can activate it and it teleports you back to your bed. And I definitely want to get that up and running. So to be able to do this, I am going to need some paper, and I need to make the lowest tier journal or the lowest tier spellbook, and that is the flimsy spellbook, requiring a little bit of string. And we should be able to put this together. There we go. And the only other thing we're going to need now is a inscription table from Iron Spells. Beautiful. Now that I have the inscription table, we might as well just place it right next to our other magic table. So all I want to do is get this spell inside here. So we take our inscription table, we put our book inside, and then we can select what slot we want the actual spell to go into. And all we have to do is select that slot and then inscribe it into it. And now this is ready to go. Now it says press V to cast, and that puts it into our slot here. Now there should be some other keys that we actually get, but notice you can see the icon there of what spell is actively selected. Now I went into the keybinds and there is a quick select that you were able to define, and I went ahead and defined mine to my numpad. So now if I hit 5 on my numpad, it should quick cast this ability. And so that spell gets used, looks pretty cool, and it teleports us right to our bed. And we now are stuck with a 5-minute cooldown, uses all of our mana, but it teleports us. And I believe it does teleport you as well cross-dimensionally if my memory is correct. That's pretty nice. And that was a good find. And I can't believe I overlooked that when I was actually pulling the spells out of the chests. They must be pretty common as well because we actually have 2 of them. But now that I know that works, that actually makes teleporting so much easier for us. So let's go ahead and head back to here, which is kind of funny. I can now break this, and I do want to look around for a village, kind of flying around a bit. Now, with that being said, there is something else I want to kind of get done, and that is to upgrade our relic that's in my hand. So I've been munching on this Infinity Ham, and this has granted me its own XP, but you also utilize your main XP here. So now that we have a level point from actually consuming and using it, we can level this up, which is pretty darn cool. So I just hit the level up button. You can see it's going to cost me 5 levels of experience as well to do this. And we'll go from 0.3 units of saturation to now 0.5 units of saturation. Pretty darn cool. I really like that. And apparently there is a random or reroll random stat here as well. Automatically reroll random stat to perfect values if you hold shift. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So I'm guessing there's a random mechanic where you can, I guess, level it up even more. But now whenever I eat this, it should give us even more saturation. And as we continue to use it, it's only going to get better. That's a fantastic thing. Now, I don't know what my luck is at the moment, but I have a feeling I should go, like, do the lottery. Because I was out and I'm flying around looking for a village. And I was like, oh, there's a ship. I might as well drop down inside. And it has running shoes in it. And I thought I was just going to casually be looting. No, I literally find one of my favorite items of all time. And it's the running shoes. This gives you speed. It gives you a speed boost. Not only that, it gives you step up, which is like riding a horse. Like, that is the best thing I could have found. Now, right here is actually a nice, peaceful, quaint little village. And I think I'm gonna call this our makeshift village for right now. A place where we can come back here, do some trades if need be, or in the future, capture some of these guys. Yeah, we should be able to, and maybe, you know, because these guys are still super, super useful. There's a ton of uses for villagers. And yeah, definitely getting something set up for them is going to be pretty good. I did happen to find another waystone. So if this one doesn't have one, oh, which it does, beautiful, then we can go ahead and set this. Perfect. And we'll call this Village 1 for now. I mean, you know, Savannah? Yeah, let's just call it like it is. Village Savannah. That should be more than fine. Also, it'd probably be best if I was actually inputting the name into the input name slot here. There we go, instead of actually the search slot. By the way, there is a search slot now, which is pretty cool. So you can actually search for your waystones. But just as it's getting dark, this should be the perfect time to cast our spell and recall home. Oh, this is amazing. And voila, we're back right at our bed. So after a quick nap, I know my base is definitely not being built, but I wanted to get myself in a good position before we actually start building our base. And I think it's definitely worthwhile getting a storage solution up and running. And so next episode, we're going to be diving into obtaining said early game storage solution. The one that we'll set up before AE. Of course, there's a couple of options in the pack, but I cannot wait to get that set up. And now that we've got all the materials for it, it shouldn't be very difficult. So guys, if you did enjoy today's episode and you learned something new, or you just enjoyed today's video, be sure to give this video, of course, a huge thumb up, and also click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Guys, I appreciate it. Comment down below, what was your favorite part? What did you learn? I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Definitely also check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect, and follow me over there if you would. Also join the Discord, link down in the description below. I appreciate it, guys, and now it's time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Hex. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And of course, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Bye!